Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Along to the video where I find out what's my favourite, what's my least favourite episode of Season 3 of Supernatural. I'm going to be doing it the same way I've done Season 1 and 2. If you've never watched this before, so how I tend to do it is I use a website called www.bracketfights, and I basically pit each episode against each other in a tournament style to whittle them down to my favourite episode and my least favourite. So if you want to join in on the fun, I hope it's fun anyway, feel free to grab a piece of paper, grab a pen. It's a randomised order, so it will pit 2 random episodes from Season 3 and basically write down what's your favourite of each one. And then that episode will move on to the next round, and then the next 2 will fight, and that episode will move on to the next round, and so on and so forth until we whittle all the episodes down. I just want to talk about Series 3 very briefly before I jump into the video, because I feel like reflecting on Series 3 a little bit, I've had maybe a week or so since I finished the season. I feel like it definitely was a really good season, and I know a lot of people love the season. There's people that don't, and it's weird because I've been reading reviews of the season since finishing the episodes, just to kind of get a consensus of how it was when it aired, what was the feedback, and there was like a lot of mixed reactions to it. Some people thought it was great, and some people really didn't, and I kind of agree with all points to some degree. Like, I thought it was a brilliant season with some really good episodes, really, really strong episodes, but also a few episodes that were quite weak. And whilst I enjoyed the Dean storyline of it's so long till he dies, till the day of the deal, there's so long left, I can understand why that was a point of contention amongst some fans, because it kind of felt like it was just dragging the season along to the finale, and there wasn't a lot of movement for that storyline really throughout, other than Sam killing the Crossroads Demon maybe halfway through. I can't remember exactly which episode it was. There was kind of not really much movement on that storyline until the end, so I can understand why that was a problem. And I feel like the writer's strike definitely hampered the last half of the season. Like, the last couple of episodes I still feel were quite rushed. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but overall I'd say they had a really strong season with some really strong episodes. There's a couple that I think might be near the top, but I'm not sure what's my least favourite, so I'm really excited to jump into this. My opinions are normally kind of controversial. I don't always have the most popular opinion of these kind of TV shows, so I'm excited to see what you guys think. Let me know if you play along, and also what your favourite episode is, what your least favourite episode is of the season. So let's jump into the Season 3 tournament for Supernatural. Okay guys, so here is the bracket fight for Series 3 of Supernatural. As you can see, there's 8 episodes on each side. As we look at each match and decide which is better between the two, we'll slowly whittle the episodes down and down until the final 2 battle it out in the middle for the best episode of the season. And then what I'll do at the end is quickly go through it all again in reverse. So I'll do all my least favourite episodes and whittle them down to my least favourite. So let's jump into the very first match. Okay, so the first match is Time Is On My Side versus Red Sky at Morning. Okay, what I like about doing it randomised is I don't really know what to expect, so the matches can be quite interesting to me, and I never really know what to think. Time Is On My Side, penultimate episode of the season, and it's about Sam and Dean desperately trying to find a way to get Dean out of the deal or to survive. And obviously there's the whole storyline about the immortal guy who harvests organs, and how Sam knew that was the case and knew that's what they were going for, and so I was hoping maybe that's a way to look into Dean extending his life by becoming like this weird immortal organ harvest. And Dean was also going after Bella, and then there's a whole Bella storyline. The main storyline of the episode, I didn't love it. I thought it was kind of boring, but the subtext was really interesting about how desperate Sam and Dean both are to find a way out, to not have Dean die. For me, what was a real shame about this episode is I loved Bella as a character. I was in the camp that she was really interesting, really complex, and I wanted to know more about her. I like how the story ended for her. I thought it was a good end, a really sad end that made me want to cry. But for me, it was a shame that it was part of the writer's strike fallout. The ending was rushed. Her character arc was reduced to the end. Well, the end of her character arc was reduced to the B-side of a mediocre episode, in my opinion. And it's a shame because I liked the character and I thought the ending was great. It just felt so rushed. Red Sky at Morning, I didn't get a lot of comments about this one on YouTube, or Patreon. So I can imagine it's like not the most popular episode. Once with the week episode. We find people who have seen a ghost ship. If you see this ghost ship, at some point, you're going to die soon. And then we discover, also linked to Bella as well actually, that the ghost ship is going to be viewed by people who have killed a family member. So it's to do with the ghost that was killed by his brother. He goes after people that kill family members as revenge. I thought it was a really fun Monster of the Week story. Introduced some really interesting things about Bella's storyline. We know she saw the ghost ship. Who did she kill? What's going on there? I always enjoyed the episodes that featured Bella and her relationship with the boys. Between the two, what do I think is better? Time Is On My Side is probably a better episode overall because it does feature a lot of things to really think about. You get to see the desperation with Sam and Dean. Whilst I really enjoyed the Monster of the Week of Red Sky at Morning, I think Time Is On My Side really hit me really hard at the end. Any episode, as I said, with Series 1 and 2, that makes me want to cry is a really strong episode in my opinion, and it means it's done something really well in my opinion. And whilst the main storyline was a bit weak, the things to think about, the desperation with Sam and Dean, the bond between them as they both fall out with each other while both trying to achieve the same goal, I think was really good. So for me, it's Time Is On My Side. Okay, interesting matchup. Episode 2, The Kids Are Alright, versus the finale, No Rest for the Wicked. The Kids Are Alright, I think, is a very, very popular episode amongst fans, and I'm not surprised. It's quite a light episode in some ways, but also not. So the main storyline really is about these changelings that take over these kids and basically suck the life out of the parents. Weaved in with all that is Dean meets up with an old girl of his, an old girlfriend that he slept with, who has a son. And the last time they slept together, all the dates match up that it could be Dean's son. There's a major divide amongst fans. Is Dean his father? Is Dean not? I fall into the camp that he's not, because I feel like at the end of the episode she probably would have told him. But the episode really wasn't about was Dean the dad or not. What the episode was about was Dean discovering that now that he's got an expiry date in his life, he would like to have been the dad. And that was like a really good revelation at the end, that Dean realised that regardless of what the outcome was, whether he was the dad or not, he would have been happy with it being his son. The changing storyline wasn't all that interested in, but the Dean and Ben storyline, was he called Ben? Ben and Lisa, yeah, that was it. The storyline was really fun, really grabbed me in, and there's some good comedy moments throughout the episode as well. No Rest for the Wicked. Season finale. Supernatural always does good season finales. Elements of it, again, I would feel like are kind of rushed, but I really enjoyed more time with Lilith, seeing her with the family, keeping them captured, wanting them to be kind of their parents, but she was like keeping them trapped there. And where Dean got torn apart by the Hellhounds, what we saw the glimpse of him in hell, really scary. I thought the episode was really strong. Obviously, with the 4 episodes after the writers' strike happened, they had to fit a lot in a short amount of time, and you could tell that with the finale as well. There were points that kind of felt rushed, but the episode was strong. Had a really good time with it. I always think the season finales of Supernatural probably always going to be strong for me, amongst my favourite episodes. Which do I prefer out of the 2? Now, I know the popular consensus is easily going to be, it's The Kids Are Alright. This is going to be a super unpopular opinion, so do not hate me, people. Like, I know, I think of certain names already that comment on my videos regularly, that I know I'm going to be really disappointed, but I would easily pick No Rest for the Wicked, personally, and The Kids Are Alright. I enjoyed both episodes, and that's the hard part about this format. But I would go back to No Rest for the Wicked over The Kids Are Alright. Really emotional end. Almost made me cry again. As you'll see throughout the season, me almost crying is a common theme here. But for me, I preferred No Rest for the Wicked. Don't hate me. Okay, the next match is A Very Supernatural Christmas versus Juice in Bello. Very Supernatural Christmas episode. Those episodes of TV shows can often be gimmicky, a bit lame. I think Supernatural pulled it out of the park. Hit it out of the park? Pulled it out of the bag, or hit it out of the park. Not pulled it out of the park. That doesn't make sense, Scott. I thought it was really good. It had a really fun Monster of the Week aspect to it, with these couple with the demons that loved Christmas, and I'm very biased when it comes to Christmas episodes or shows. I just love Christmas. I really love it. Really emotional ending. We saw Sam and Dean having a Christmas together. Sam didn't want to have a Christmas because it was his last one with Dean. Dean wanted to because it's his last Christmas, and eventually Sam did the right thing in my eyes and gave Dean his last Christmas. And it was just sad just watching them in a motel have this Christmas together where they just bought each other stuff from a gas station. It was so cute. And we got the backstory of the Samuela, as you guys have told me it's called, and seeing how hard their childhood was. Oh, it was such a hard time episode to watch at times, just seeing more of their childhood, which is never going to be a good thing. Their childhood is not an easy thing to discuss and not a fun thing to watch, because it was just such a shame what happened to them. But I love the episode. There's not really bad point for me about the episode. Juice in Bello, the return of Hendrickson. Sam and Dean get captured thanks to Bella, and they get put into jail with Hendrickson's there, and he's trying to prove that they are who they are. Lilith knows that they're there, and she sends a host of demons to get them. What I loved about this episode was the character growth with Hendrickson in particular. he hated Sam and Dean and was like Gordon, which is an episode that's going to be here at some point. I'm trying not to look at the matches to not think ahead. They brought him back as someone who was not a villain, but like an antagonist, and really flipped his story on its head. And then he became a believer. He helped Sam and Dean. He worked with them, fought alongside them, and then got killed off when Lilith shot herself at the end. Oh, that was such a shame for me. That I really felt a gut punch at the end when Hendrickson got killed off. Honestly, for me, there was that. Oh, because I was so excited that they were working together. I loved all the demons outside, the mass exorcism. I think between the two, I actually really like Juice and Bello more. Unexpected because it felt Monster of the Week-y. Initially, Hendrickson came back and I was like, ugh, this guy. But with how much I started to love it throughout, my heart has to go to the episode. As much as they both really gripped my heart emotionally, Lilith's appearance, Hendrickson becoming a good guy is the wrong way to put it, but becoming part of the ally team, being allies with Sam and Dean, just to be killed off, that ending really just made me... I was gutted. I really was. So for me, it's Juice in Bello. Okay, 2 primarily Monster of the Week stories, bedtime stories, fairy tales come to life. Quite a fun episode on the most part. The episode was fun. I really enjoy fairy tales, stories and adaptations. I watched most of Once Upon a Time, so I like that kind of thing. And The 10th Kingdom, if anyone ever watched that was a brilliant fairy tale TV show. If you never watched it, look it up on YouTube. It's only about 10 hours long. I enjoyed seeing how they were adapted with like the old lady stabbing the people to death, the man who had the wolf tattoo who was attacking people as like the 3 little pigs sort of thing. I really enjoyed the episode. It was mostly just a Monster of the Week story, but was fun. I had a good time. Dream a Little Dream of Me, another Monster of the Week that had more emotional weight to it. I didn't care at all for the Monster of the Week part. The dream thing was cool, and I enjoyed that we got to see Bobby's backstory. We learned that he killed his wife before he became a hunter. She was possessed. He killed her because he didn't know what to do, and then became a hunter because of that. And obviously he feels a lot of guilt that there's ways he could have gone about saving her. He could have done an exorcism. There's ways he could have gone about it. And then we went into Dean's dreams, where we saw him face up with his like inner self, admitting that his dad was not a good dad to them, admitting that his dad controlled him and that he just follows him, and his fear about dying. The Monster of the Week villain was so uninteresting to me. I didn't care about him at all. But the actual dream aspect of it was so good that between the two, Dream a Little Dream of Me has a lot more impact for me, more memorable, interesting scene inside Sam and Dean's head. Sam's head a little bit because of the Bella dream that we saw, where he got all like thirsty for Bella, but more so Dean's dream amongst his like demon self, because that's what he's going to become. At least that's what he feels like he's going to become. And also Bobby's backstory. Yeah, between the two, Dream a Little Dream of Me has definitely got more impact for me. Time Is on My Side versus No Rest for the Wicked, the final 2 episodes of the season. I think I have to go for the finale on this one. It's quite an easy match. Time Is on My Side was good ideas, good things to think about, great ending, but was rushed. Particularly Bella's story felt so rushed in the penultimate episode, whereas the finale, whilst there was rushed elements, I enjoyed more of the episode. Lilith's story, the Hellhounds, Dean going to hell, that sort of stuff. So yeah, for me, out of the 2, it's got to be No Rest for the Wicked. Juice in Bello versus Dream, A Little Dream of Me. Again, quite an easy match for me. I think instinctively, what jumps out as my favourite episode of the 2 is Juice in Bello. I think that's because with Dream a Little Dream of Me, some great emotional moments. Dean's in a monologue, like I said, really emotional. Bobby stuff, emotional. Funny stuff with Sam. But the Monster of the Week part was kind of boring. Whereas Juice in Bello, there's no part of the episode that I did not enjoy. I thought Lilith's great. Demons were great. Hendrickson was good. And the way that it succeeded my expectations and made me go from hating Hendrickson to rooting for him means it's got to be Juice in Bello. And this is where it starts to get really difficult. So the final on this side of the page, No Rest for the Wicked versus Juice in Bello. 2 really strong episodes of the TV show. Both emotional. Hendrickson dying at the end of Juice in Bello really hit me. Dean dying at the end of No Rest for the Wicked hit me. Seeing hell was scary. Really was scary. Both of them feature Lilith. We saw Lilith briefly in Juice in Bello. In No Rest for the Wicked, she was quite a main character and was keeping that family hostage. I don't want to just pick the finales every time, but I do feel like Supernatural do really good finales. And between the 2, I don't know what to pick. I don't. Because like with Juice and Bello, that felt like a really good paced episode. Because it was before the writer's strike. No Rest for the Wicked had a lot to finish up in one episode. It was a little rushed. But it had a lot of emotional weight to it as well. Some really creepy moments. And I don't want to compare Dean dying to Hendrix dying, because obviously the worst thing is Dean dying. Although with Dean dying, I knew he would come back. I've not watched Series 4 yet, but I know he comes back. With Hendrickson dying, that's, as far as I'm aware, going to be it for his character. I don't, no spoilers please, if he comes back. But I just presume that Lilith just wiped him out of existence to some degree. And he's gone now. I try and do what I always do when I struggle to make a decision. If I had to go sit on the couch now and watch one episode out of the two, which one would I pick to rewatch? Right guys, so genuinely I've been sat here for about 5 minutes just thinking what to pick between these two. I'm going to go for No Rest for the Wicked. A lot of time with Lilith, seeing Dean get killed, seeing Dean go to hell, the vision of Dean in hell, Sam not getting killed by Lilith's powers. There's a lot of things that set up for Series 4, a lot of emotional impact. Lilith scenes were creepy. I'm just going to go for No Rest for the Wicked. Although, as soon as I click stop, I'm going to change my mind. Okay, on to the second half. Fresh Blood versus a Mystery Spot. Okay, Fresh Blood was a return of Gordon, another of my least favourite characters, because he was so frustrating to watch. But again, like with the Hendrickson episode with Juice and Bello, it really flipped it on its head, where it made Gordon become the monster that he always hated. He became a vampire. And it was really funny and interesting to watch him justify how he acted as a vampire against how he acted as a human, and how he just doesn't see that he's becoming the monster that he hated and hunted and craved to kill. And that was such a fascinating thing to watch. Mystery Spot, a lot of people love this episode. I think this is most people's favourite episode of the season, judging by the comments. Sam and Dean go to this place to investigate this thing. Sam gets stuck in a time loop where Dean dies over and over and over. And I think it's really fun. That takes a really dark turn at the end. They find the trickster, they confront him. He lets Dean survive the day, but dies the next day. And that's permanent. And Sam lives for like 6 months. But honestly, in those 6 months, that boy hits the gym. Well, he probably doesn't go to the gym, but he trains a lot. And there's a scene where he just rips his jacket off and he like cuts his shirt up. And honestly, I couldn't handle it. But it was emotional to watch him kill Bobby. Not real Bobby, but Bobby, like Trickster Bobby, and deal with Life Without Dean, which obviously had a massive impact on the last few episodes of the season. Between the two, I definitely think I agree that Mystery Spot is more of a fun episode that I'm happy to rewatch. As much as it can be difficult watching Dean die over and over again and watching Sam dealing with that, I actually had a really good time with it. I thought it was really good. I thought they were both really strong episodes, but between the two, it'll be Mystery Spot. Next match is episode 3, Bad Day at Black Rock, versus the first episode of the season, The Magnificent Seven. Quite an easy one for me to pick, I think, already. The first episode of the season wasn't that good. Enjoyable, yes. Interesting to see some of the aftermath of Hell's Gate opening, but I do fully think still that season 3 really did let the ball drop on the aftermath of that plot line. Like, the first episode, the 7 Deadly Sins got out of hell, which was technically their prison. Awesome, great. They could be such a cool villain. They could have been a series arc, 7 Deadly Sins, where every one episode people are dying, and we find out Wrath did it. A couple of episodes later, Gluttony did it, and then it all builds up to a big confrontation between the 7 Deadly Sins or whatever. They were not that good in the episode. They were really weak villains, in my opinion, and just the Hell released a lot of demons, and whilst we got to meet a couple of them throughout the season, it felt like that didn't really have that much of an impact. So the pilot wasn't that great, really, for me. Whereas Bad Light Black Rock was really fun. Sam and Dean obviously come across this lucky charm, which, when you have it, gives you great luck. So, the picture that I used, they go to a restaurant for food, or a diner, whatever it was. They were the millionth customer, so get free food for a year. And it's like, you shoot, the bullet can fly around and hit the target. All this cool stuff, but if you lose the lucky charm, you get bad luck. That was easily, for me, a much better episode than the pilot. So between the two, easily Bad Day at Black Rock. Okay, next, Ghostfacers versus Sin City. Ghostfacers was the reality TV episode with a Most Haunted style thing where we followed the Ghostfacers and Corbett as they investigated a haunted house as a reality TV show. They were filming a pilot for it. Sam Dean obviously rocked up to save the day. Some really creepy stuff again. The whole birthday party scene I thought was generally creepy. Corbett, rest in peace, was actually a surprisingly touching moment when they had to break Corbett out of that death loop. That really hit me harder than I expected to, in a really fun episode. Great. I enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. I don't know what a lot of people think, because the few people on Patreon have commented. It's not live on YouTube at the time of recording this. So I'm excited to see what you guys think, but I had a good time with it. Sin City, I'll admit I didn't love that episode. It was the episode where they go to that city where people are drinking a lot, using sex workers, just being like, not going to work properly, just beating up people, shooting people, engaging in all the sinful behaviour. And the only good part for me about that episode really was watching the scene where Dean gets trapped with the demon in a basement and he's trapped in the devil's trap, and they kind of bond, and they talk about going to hell, and she says that demons are scared of hell. What do you think hell's going to be like? But the episode overall was kind of weak for me. The plot line with that business guy didn't go anywhere, had no real point. So other than that good scene with Dean and the demon, and how she tried to save his life, which was interesting, it wasn't that good an episode in my opinion. So I generally prefer Ghostfaces out of the two. Okay, the last original match, Malleus Maleficarum versus Long Distance Call. Again, both Monster of the Weeks, which weaved in plot overarching story arcs for the season, which Supernatural did really well this season. There wasn't a lot of Monster of the Weeks that were just on their own, minus maybe like Ghostfaces. Every Monster of the Week featured talks of Dean's deal and how the Monster of the Week might be a part of that effect, which will make more sense in a second. So, for example, like Malleus Maleficarum is about witches and a coven, and people are getting killed, and the witches start getting killed. Who's doing it? What we discover, it's a demon who is masquerading as one of the witches. But with Sam and Dean getting involved, we then learn that she escaped from hell, and she lets them know about Lilith, and she's the one coming. Well, she lets them know that someone's rising in the west, which obviously turns out to be Lilith, and that obviously feeds into the story arc overall. I agree. I loved the episode. I thought it was really fun. I enjoyed the witches. I've been watching witches since episode 1. I enjoy coven episodes, witch covens, the spells they're performing, like the teeth falling out, the maggots in the food. So grim, so grim. I had a really good time with it. Long Distance Call, again, like with a lot of matches on this side, I didn't really love that episode. Some good stuff with Dean and talking to John, and how easily he slipped back into following John's orders. Was it a good episode? I don't think it was that good. I think it had a lot of promise, a lot of potential. The phone call stuff could have been cool. I just think they kind of dropped the ball a little bit on it, and they could have had some really good stuff, but I wasn't that interested in it. I wasn't hooked, but the Dean stuff was interesting. But yeah, between the two, easily for me, it was Malleus Maleficarum. Okay, Mystery Spot versus Bad Day at Black Rock. I think quite an easy one for me to pick. Mystery Spot, I think, was just more of a fun episode overall, with emotional stuff towards the end. I enjoyed seeing the Trickster again. I like Groundhog Day episodes, Time Loop episodes. I think they're really fun. Seeing the different ways Dean would die was pretty fun, but it had an emotional impact at the end. Whilst Bad Day at Black Rock was fun, and I had a good time with it, a really good time with it, and there were some really cute moments like, what was Sam's line? Was it like, I lost my shoe, whatever it was so cute. The villains in it, like the guys who were working for Gordon, didn't really take to them. Gordon being back, I felt, was a kind of a pointless. But the Lucky Charms was fun. But yeah, between the two, Mystery Spot was definitely a better episode. Another easy one for me, whilst I enjoyed Ghostfaces and Malleus Maleficarum, I think I had overall a better time with Malleus Maleficarum, and I liked how it introduced the demon and the talk of, whilst it didn't say who Lilith was, I liked that it kind of gave us a hint that someone's rising to become the new big bad, doesn't like Sam. Ghostfaces was good, and it really did break my heart with Corbett, but Malleus Maleficarum, I had more of a fun time with that episode. Pretty much a no-brainer, guys, right? Between Mystery Spot and Malleus Maleficarum, much as I love the Witch episode, Mystery Spot is one I've been thinking about quite a lot. I'm excited to do a rewatch of it when I do a rewatch of season 3 in my spare time. Yeah, but between the two, I got of it. Overall, Mystery Spot is a stronger episode than Malleus Maleficarum. Okay, this is the big one. What was my favourite episode of season 3? The finale, Nourish for the Wicked versus Mystery Spot. Both had fun stuff. Both had sort of creepy stuff. More so No Rest for the Wicked. Both had really emotional stuff. No Rest for the Wicked had Dean dying. seeing Dean in hell. No, Mystery Spot had Dean dying, and seeing Sam live with that, which we haven't seen yet in No Rest for the Wicked. I presume it's going to be touched on within the first episode of season 4 when I get to it. What I'm struggling with here is my mind and my brain thinking too much about this, because I know that the comment section will easily say Mystery Spot is the better episode. I also know that for series 1 and 2, I picked No Rest for the Wicked. I picked the finales for my favourite, and I don't want to be like boring. Oh, he always picks the finales for his favourite episodes, but that shouldn't be a part of my decision making. If that is my favourite episode, I should pick that. But I know that I am very anxious. I deal with a lot of anxiety, and so I'm worrying about that too much. I'm trying not to let the comments get into my head and just go with what I think was a better episode. And I knew sitting down to do this ranking that Mystery Spot, No Rest for the Wicked, and probably Juice and Bello were going to be my favourite 3 of the season, because I know what's probably going to be my bottom 2 as well, which we'll get to, and I'll decide as I go along. I knew these were probably going to be near the top, because I love the finale. Supernatural do such good season finales, and I've loved everyone so far, and I'm hoping I love the rest. But I don't want to be that boring person that just goes with the finales all the time. But at the same time, if I think of Buffy, I love almost every season finale of Buffy. I think they're all some of the strongest episodes of each season, you know? And that's my favourite TV show, and I've had a lot of time to digest each season and think about favourite episodes. Yeah, there's a couple throughout, but also the finales are always in my top as well. So I shouldn't be ashamed of going for the finale if it's my favourite. I think, from what I would take from an episode, what I preferred, don't hate me, I'm going to go for No Rest for the Wicked. If I decide when I get around to editing this that I've changed my mind, then we'll talk about it then. But purely because, again, crying. I don't know if I actually cried this time, but I was very, very close to it. I was about on the edge of tears when we zoomed into Dean's eye. I was like, whoa, that kind of just stopped me. And we saw him in hell. That was great. I want to know more about Lilith stopping the spell. Lilith's spell that didn't work against Sam. What's happening with Ruby? Where did her allegiances lie? I liked all the creepy stuff in the house. I love both these episodes. I think they're both probably a shared number 1. But if I have to pick, I'm going to go for No Rest for the Wicked. If you're interested in seeing the whole thing, here's my tournament results for the favourite episode of Season 3. I know the result is probably going to be controversial. Like it is with Series 2, a lot of people chose Tall Tales for their favourite. But I do think the finale was great there, and it is here as well. And if I do change my mind along the way, I'll do update videos to let you know as I change my mind, because I'm very indecisive just in general. But yeah, Series 3, at the moment, my favourite episode of the season was No Rest for the Wicked. Okay guys, as we do every season, we're going to do the same thing again, but to get my least favourite episode. This one usually takes a lot quicker, so please don't turn off if you're interested in seeing what my least favourite episode of the season is. So we start off by going through all the matches again very quickly, but choosing the opposite ones. So I chose Times on My Side, so my least favourite is Red Sky Morning. I chose No Rest for the Wicked, so The Kids Are Alright, which is a shame, but we'll get into that. Very Supernatural Christmas, again, another strong one. Bedtime Stories I didn't pick. Okay, so I think this one is going to be quite easy this season for me. Between Red Sky Morning and The Kids Are Alright. The Kids Are Alright had a lot more to think about, and whilst I really enjoyed Red Sky Morning more than I think most people did, The Kids Are Alright with Dean and Ben was just a fascinating storyline to watch, and with Lisa and that whole thing and Dean's emotions, I've got to pick between the two. My least favourite episode was Red Sky Morning. Again with this one, A Very Supernatural Christmas I thought was a really, really, really good episode. Bedtime Stories was just, yeah, good. I enjoyed myself. So, Supernatural Christmas, it's a shame that it's my least favourite half, because that's just the way this tournament works. But yeah, Bedtime Stories is easily the least favourite between the two. Okay, Red Sky Morning versus Bedtime Stories. Both pretty much Monster of the Week episodes. Both episodes that I think from comments that I've seen so far are people's favourites. Bedtime Stories, fairy tale episodes. Red Sky Morning was a ghost ship episode. Which did I prefer between the two? You know what? I actually preferred Red Sky Morning purely because, not that Bedtime Stories was bad, I think there's actually more episodes in the next half that I'm going to do that are worse episodes than Bedtime Stories. But Red Sky Morning, I enjoyed Bella's part of it. The relationship between Sam and that older lady. I liked the ghost ship. I thought some good practical effects. And I thought it was generally really creepy seeing that ship floating along. Whilst I love the fairy tale aspect of it, and this isn't being marred by the little rant that I had at the time, and the problems I had with the writing, I just thought Bedtime Stories overall wasn't as strong for me as a package. Okay, going through the ones that I didn't pick again. Fresh Blood, Magnificent Seven, Sin City, and Long Distance Call. There's a few on this half that I think is really going to be easy to pick from. Like for example, this match, Fresh Blood versus Magnificent Seven. I really enjoyed Fresh Blood. Magnificent Seven, I didn't. So it's a no-brainer for me. Least favourite, Magnificent Seven between the two. Okay, Sin City versus Long Distance Call. Again, for me, easy choice. Sin City, I just generally found a boring episode on the most part. I did enjoy Dean and the girl's relationship, the demon. That was interesting to think about, raised some interesting questions about Hell, and watching her bond with him was cool. But the main storyline was kind of boring. Long Distance Call, again, main storyline, kind of boring. But had some interesting stuff about Dean and John's relationship, and even like bits about when that guy got a call from his dead daughter. That didn't sit good with me. That was really emotional. I didn't like that. So between the two, I think I preferred Long Distance Call. Neither episode I really liked, but Long Distance Call had some more interesting things to talk about, some more creepy parts. Sin City, overall, mostly was kind of dull for me. I think this is the match that I expected to be the final two. I knew my least favourite three, I think, were going to be Magnificent Seven, Sin City, and Long Distance Call. So probably whatever wins this one is going to win the match for my least favourite overall, because Bedtime Stories I had some good times with, whereas these two, overall, I didn't particularly enjoy all that much. Which is my least favourite, though, is the question. Magnificent Seven, I had such high hopes for. Series 2 ended on such a strong note, and the finale was really exciting to jump back into, and I was kind of really disappointed by what direction it took and how disappointing Magnificent Seven, the Seven Deadly Sins were. But also it had some good points. I did enjoy more of Bobby. I did enjoy seeing some of the fallout of Dean's deal, like the beginning of that storyline. Magnificent Seven introduced Ruby. I thought that was really fascinating. Who was she? What's going on? Sin City, that was disappointing as well. There's nothing about the episode other than that conversation that I found really all that exciting to really talk about. Magnificent Seven either as well. Neither of them were all that good. I think between the two, which episode, if I had to watch one of them, I'd probably watch Magnificent Seven again, because it had some cool parts. There was a lot of intrigue there, and it was an okay opener. Sin City overall, I found really quite boring. I think at the time I was like, yeah, that was okay, that was good. Because I feel like when I do my reactions, I don't like to just go, yeah, that was shit. Because I know there's people, I don't like tearing down anything. But I think looking back on it, it really didn't interest me all that much. Between the two, I'm going to go for Sin City as my least favourite episode of the two. And like I say, between the two, Bedtime Stories, Sin City, easily going to be Sin City as the least favourite for me. Because Bedtime Stories, I thought, was fun. I had some good things to talk about, really fun fairy tale parts. Sin City overall was my least favourite episode of Season 3. So there's my tournament bracket fight for my least favourite episode of Season 3. Okay guys, so another controversial ranking of episodes by Sunnydale Survivor is done. And let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are, how much you hate me for not picking Mystery Spot. Like I say, if I change my mind in editing, I will let you know and put something up on the screen. But joining Devil's Trap and All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2 for my favourite episode of Season 3 is No Rest for the Wicked, the season finale. And joining Bugs and Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, my least favourite episode of Season 3, I have chosen Sin City. Let me know down below what you think of those things. Do you agree with any of that? What do you think is your least favourite episode of the season? I've heard a couple of different things in the comments about people's least favourite episodes. I'd be interested to know whether my choice was a controversial one or not. I generally just thought Sin City was... There's not really much to talk about. Even episodes that I don't love, there's usually things to talk about, things to discuss. And other than that one conversation with one person, I can't really like an episode of one scene. I just thought the whole episode was kind of dull. So yeah, that was my ranking of my favourite episodes and my least favourite episodes, Season 3 of Supernatural. I get nervous doing these things, guys. I always do, and I always will, because I know that my opinion is not always the popular one, which is fine. I think that's healthy to have a different opinion to a lot of people, because that makes things interesting. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please let me know down below in the comments what you thought, and just let me know if you don't want to do the whole process with me. Let me know what your favourite was and your least favourite was as we jump into Season 4. I've got one more video coming out before then. I'm going to do some quizzes. I'm going to hopefully look at starting Series 4 very soon, which I'm very, very excited about because I know another main character appears, and I just want to know, how the hell does Dean get out of hell? Thanks for watching, guys. As always, my name is Scott. Hope you guys are well, taking care of yourselves and staying safe. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know down below in the comments what you thought. Subscribe for the next video and inevitably my reactions to Season 4. And I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all soon for the next episode of Supernatural. Bye, guys.